Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Slow Mistake 4067. And it says, am I the arsehole here for leaving my friend's fiance stranded for trying to make a move on me? Ooh, dearie me. Hi Reddit, this is my first time posting, so I'll try to explain everything as clearly as I can. I, 21 female, have a friend named Tegan, 22 female, and a fiancé, Luca, 21 male. This story hints to sexual harassment, but not sexual assault, so I don't mark it that because I'm afraid of screwing up, so here's a warning. As always, timestamps are down in the description and on the timeline below. Thank you. A couple of weeks ago, our friend group went out drinking. Almost everyone got super drunk except me and Tegan because we were the designated drivers. Somehow Luca ended up in my car instead of Tegan's, which was super annoying because his apartment is in the opposite direction from my group's apartments, so I had to make a huge detour to drop him off. Being the kind person I was, I decided to drop my girls off at their apartments because it's not their fault Luca was being a drunk arse clown, with his head shoved so far up his arse he could perform his own hands-free colonoscopy. So I dropped my girls off and it was just me and Luca in the car. Basically, half my friend group lives at apartment building A, half lives in apartment building B, and Tegan and Luca live in apartment C. At first it was fine, we were just chatting and sitting in silence. But then he started insisting we pull over at some gas station because he needed something. Honestly don't remember what it was, snacks or a bathroom. I agreed because I thought it was harmless, but as soon as we were parked, he started getting weird and making advances on me. I immediately said no and tried to push him away, but he's bigger than me and kept getting aggressive, saying some ridiculous shit like, you'd enjoy it and no one will find out. I was freaking the fuck out because the situation was escalating and my ass was going to be fried if he tried something because I'm much smaller than him and I wouldn't stand a chance defending myself. So I made the decision to leave. I told him to get out of my car and I drove off. He was obviously pissed, but I left him at the gas station anyways. The area isn't sketchy, there's plenty of Ubers and he had a phone and money. His apartment is about 15 to 20 minute walk from there, so I didn't think I was actually endangering him. Tegan is now pissed at me for a good reason. I haven't told her any of my story. She thinks I just left her fiancé stranded for no reason and now she's upset with me, as she should. She keeps saying I endangered Luca and that I should apologize. I literally can't explain why I left him without spilling what he did. I also feel disgusted and disrespected looking at him or being around him now. The wedding is coming up soon and I'm scared this will ruin their relationship if I spill, and ours if I don't. He's overall a pretty nice guy, but part of me thinks I should tell Tegan before the wedding happens. But I also don't want to destroy her relationship over a drunken night that got out of control. This stuff has never happened before, so I feel bad blowing it out of proportion. Reddit, please help a girl out. Opie then gave a mini update within the same post and said, okay, I've read every comment. I appreciate the harsh, the kind, and thorough comments. I tell Tegan later at my house because it's Easter and she's out of town and this is something I would like to talk about in person. Thanks so much. My first thought on that end sentence, like this stuff has never happened before, and I was thinking maybe it hasn't happened before to you, maybe this is the first time to you, but it might have certainly happened to others. And you didn't just strand him, air quotes there, you escaped the situation that sounded like it was turning pretty dangerous fast, which is a huge difference. Dude wasn't just being drunk and annoying, he was ignoring you saying no and trying to press you into something you clearly didn't want. And I think simply your friend deserves to know who she's about to marry. It could go all sorts of ways. We've seen it in stories before, where they don't believe you, where he's told some other version of the story, etc. But, you're just telling your truth, and I think you're absolutely right to do so. But one of the top commenters says to OP, tell her, why would you keep a secret for a potential rapist? OP says, oh shit, you're so right. Another commenter says, oh my god, you have to tell your friend about this. And I think it has to happen in a meeting between all three of you. This was premeditated. He told you to pull over at a gas station because he was planning to assault you. You wouldn't be ruining their relationship. If it's ruined, it's because his behavior did that, all by itself. Nice guys are still nice when they are drunk. Opie says, yeah, I didn't realize how serious this was. It's hard to see him as the bad guy when my friend has swooned over him for years now and has only ever preached about how awesome he is. Another commenter says, girl, do you understand the meaning of the word facade? I have gotten drunk before, and I've never tried to rape or force myself onto a girl. Don't let the rapist gaslight you into believing it was the alcohol speaking. Alcohol doesn't speak for shit. What it does is lower inhibitions for things he already wants to do. He's a fucking rapist. As long as you can have that understanding, it should help you figure out what to do next. If you're comfortable with it, you should let Tegan read the whole post and the comments, not the arsehole. Opie says, thank you. I've never personally drank alcohol after having previous family issues related to it. I didn't know how it works and believed it magically made him a not bad person, just because he had a beer too many. So OP at some point does come in with their update and says, Tegan and I talked late on Easter Sunday, and honestly, she wasn't as upset as I expected. Thankfully, I have one of those cameras that mounts onto your car's mirror. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it clearly shows him throwing a tantrum after I kicked him out of my car. We've been friends for much longer than they've been in a relationship, and she chose to trust my side of the story over his. She confronted him the next day and recorded the entire conversation for me to listen to. He claimed that I was lying, but when she asked him to explain what happened, his original story of me kicking him out for no reason shifted into me trying to make a move on him. She called out his lying ass and beat his idiotic claims into the ground through her amazing debate skills. Because of that, the wedding has been called off, and so has their engagement. She doesn't have anything against me either. Thank you so much for the advice, Reddit. A commenter says to OP on the back of that, glad the friendship is still intact. Tegan dodged a major bullet. Reply says, it's always nice when they keep the friend and dump the dumbass. Seaworthiness says not the arsehole. I would never try to hit on someone in a relationship, and if it happened, I'd feel awful and apologetic, not lie about it. Probably the wedding being called off is a good idea because this guy has no idea how to keep control of his pants. And there was loads of people talking about, Luca did not get in that car by accident. It was probably planned the whole way through, which is absolutely terrifying. But I'm glad OP was able to keep their friendship in the end. Like I said in the comment, that these stories always go all sorts of ways. Sometimes, like in this situation, the friend would be in complete denial, but I'm so glad it didn't go that way in the end. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from designer Mongoose 308, and it says, my boyfriend called me a gold digger, so I left. Now he wants my help to pay the rent. Quick rant, not looking for advice, but for people who've been in similar situations. I, female 30, have been with my boyfriend, male 34, for 2 years. We moved in together 6 months ago, and it was all good. We had an understanding that we would go 50-50 on chores and bills until we decided to have a child, as I would be putting my body, career, and life on the line, and he would obviously need to make up for his lack of risk by contributing more around the house and monetarily. Because of this, I believed we had an understanding on how we believed a partnership should work. 2 months ago, he got a slight promotion and pay bump, which meant we adjusted our cut of the bills to reflect that. But somehow he comes to expect me to then take up the chores at home. It started with small things that I knew he could do, like dishes and laundry, and escalated to sitting down all weekend, watching me do my half and leaving his half of the chores to accumulate. He blamed it on the stress and added workload, but we're both corporate and work at our desks regardless. I'd be more understanding if his job was more physically demanding. It got to a breaking point when I noticed mold in the pots he was meant to clean. If either of us cooks, it's the other's responsibility to clean. He just kept the lid on it so that I wouldn't notice. I needed to take a day off work to catch up with all the cleaning he neglected. The last straw was when he came home without groceries, despite it being his week. Usually when either of us is too tired to do groceries, we let the other know in advance so we can at least order in food. I told him we need to add a cleaner to the bills if he's not happy doing chores anymore, because I refuse to do them if he isn't contributing fairly too. He made an excuse about not wanting a stranger in our flat. I then said we'd need to begin ordering grocery deliveries for the extra cost too, if he can no longer be bothered, and he called me frivolous with money. So I suggested that I'd be happy to take up these responsibilities, but it would mean I would drop my working days from 5 to 4, and I would expect to be compensated for the sacrifice I'm making to my own career so he can focus on his responsibilities, because apparently they matter more than my own, and I would also expect to be paid an hourly rate for doing the chores at the average market salary for a housekeeper. He seemed so surprised and shocked I'd suggest that, and didn't know how to reply despite having an answer for everything I said before. I started to feel like he was trying to manipulate me into a situation that was more ideal to him and less ideal to me. And if he loved me, he wouldn't be doing that. So I asked him if his friends put him up to do this, because I knew they all struggled to keep girlfriends. And he said a proper woman would be happy to look after the house, and called me a gold digger. I was shocked because I wasn't asking for designer items. I was asking for fair comparison for my labor, especially seeing as it would dent my own career to take on all this work. So I called him a gold digger for wanting a private chef and housekeeper for free. I was admittedly angry at this point and also told him to stop being so proud of his promotion if he was too broke to afford a chef and cleaner, and instead tries to manipulate the woman he loves to do it for free. Not really for free, because taking a day off from my salary means I'll be paying for the privilege to clean up after him out of pocket. I told him he was dragging me down when we were supposedly meant to build each other up equitably. The flat is his, so when he was ignoring me after the fight, I started packing. He told me I would see sense, but I didn't bother. I started to feel embarrassed that I didn't notice he was like this and wasted 2 years to build up to this letdown. As I packed my car, I said as much and told him not to contact me. I blocked him everywhere and he's now sending our mutual friends messages and voice notes to forward to me. My friends have been mostly on my side, seeing him as a bit pitiful, and I can see that. One of the male friends we have in common mentioned that he's been watching podcasts recently about masculinity. Oh dear. And I have a feeling that this is where he got the idea to stall my future and put me under his foot to only serve his dreams and goals. I feel angry the more I think about it. He loves those podcasts, men's ideas more than he loved me. And now he expects me to feel sorry that he can't afford the rent without my contribution. But I believe he still thinks I'm the gold digger for not accepting an unfair division of effort and labor. If this has happened to any other women, how did you address it? I'm annoyed I let it trickle and accumulate for 2 months before addressing. Moving forward, I won't enter a relationship without having this outlined at the dating stage. I'm in my 30s now and don't want to deal with men expecting free women labor because society makes them believe it's worthless in comparison to what they do. P.S. Sorry for my wonky English, I'm from a European country that isn't the UK. One of the top commenters said to OP, this is a common trend in recent times. I had the same issue with my ex-boyfriend of 2 years. Told me my responsibility as a woman was cooking, housework, childcare, and paying half the bills. His responsibilities were paying other half of the bills and being in charge and making all financial decisions. I earn a lot more than him. Turns out, at the age of 32, he became a massive Tate stan. Like you, I didn't know he had been consuming the content obsessively. One of the last things he said to me when we were breaking up was, all woman is good for is keeping my stomach full and balls empty. You were lucky you left when you did, and I'm impressed with how quickly you did it. I tolerated the misogynistic crap for months before finally waking up. Opie responded saying, I'm glad to hear that he is an ex. I did in the moment think I was being too rushed in my response, but my gut feeling was telling me he was not going to hear my opinion, let alone change his ways, if he didn't respect me enough to even do what he did in the first place. I'm so shocked by the comments and how common this podcast pipeline was. He listened completely in secret. I was not aware in the slightest. There must be shame attached on some level to hide it, because we shared all the entertainment we consumed, and even his football I would sit down with him sometimes for important matches. Someone says, what messages is he sending you besides rent? Is he trying to get you back? Opie says mainly apologies and explanations for what he said. The last message I read was about his plans for his career and how he wanted to become a high earner so I never need to work and he can buy me everything. Me and my friends agree he is digging a hole and he still ignores my career and goals. And after accusing me of being a gold digger, his plan is to make me a gold digger. Not sure. I think he is just in crisis mode now. Opie added an additional comment about the messages he was sending and says, I'm sorry. I realized after posting that I didn't elaborate. It was just the latest string of messages he tried to pass on, and it shocked me enough to make the post. It was on my mind when I typed the title before I went on rant mode. He basically just mentioned that because I left without giving him time to adjust his budgets, I should pay for the next month of rent. But he lived there before, so I know he can afford it if he becomes frugal. My name was not on the lease when I mentioned I wanted to be on it. In my country, having a paper trail of rent agreements makes it easy to rent when you move. A void isn't great. He told me not to worry, so I guess he kind of saved me from that in his own way. Commenter says, congratulations, you dodged a big bullet. His issues will be bigger and bigger. Maywell Flower says, especially now he financially fucked himself over by calling the breadwinner a gold digger and now begging that same woman he shitted as soon as she moved in to be his sugar mama to fund the roof over his head while she still no longer lives there. OP more than dodged a big bullet. She dodged nukes. Plural. Another commenter says, nothing funnier than men calling women gold diggers when they got no gold to dig. OP edits the post and says, thank you for the overwhelming support. I see so many people have gone through the same thing, and it makes me feel less angry that I found myself in this situation. I wanted to explain a few points that came up a lot. 1. He created an Excel spreadsheet that calculated based on income how we can fairly contribute. When his pay increased, he paid more monthly, €80, and also had 400 extra monthly disposable income. If this is what soured him, I suppose he should have mentioned because it was his system, not mine. 2. We did not keep a tally. We had favorite chores. He likes to vacuum. I like to put dishes away. Sometimes he is sick, does overtime, or isn't in the mood. I would happily do it. Same with him for me. I only started to tally when a pattern emerged. It would be stupid to not take notice when he is consistently leaving things to me silently as if expecting me to silently sort it out. The mold was disgusting. The groceries were just the straw that broke the camel's back. I was exhausted after only 2 months of picking up the slack mentally and physically. Couldn't imagine doing it with serious reconsiderations to our dynamic. 3. We discussed children because we both agreed we wanted the relationship to head in that direction. Not because we were ready now. I would not have spent 2 years with a man if our future ideas didn't align. It's okay if someone changes their mind later, but communication is important. 4. He listened to these podcasts in secret. Had no idea, and we usually share the entertainment we consume together, silly videos and films. Bloody hell, so this guy was calling you a gold digger, yet he's asking you for rent as soon as you leave because he can't afford it. Oh, dearie me. I think it's just quite that simple, like the commenters were saying, that OP has dodged a big bullet here. And it sounds like those podcasts have really done a number on him. Dude had a stable, equal relationship, but because some random guy told him some absolute toxic shit, now he's alone and can't manage even the basic adult responsibilities. It's crazy. There's always a clip that sticks into my head about one of these influencers, and he randomly bumps into a couple of teen fans, like they look like young teens, 13, 14 maybe, and they just, like on this clip, they just randomly start spewing out absolute toxic bullshit, and it was just so sad to see. And obviously not naming them because I don't want them popping up on your feeds, you know how it works. But it was 6 months after this post that OP came in with another one and said, my ex is making me nervous, I want to leave the country. Hey, I posted on this sub a few months ago about my relationship with my female 31 ex male 35 falling apart due to his change in ideology and seeing me less like a partner and more like someone who only exists to support his dreams. The breakup was quick. I walked out after a major fight with most of my items, and my father went back to collect the rest while I was on FaceTime. I wasn't scared of him then, but I knew he'd try to talk to me as he was bothering all of our mutual friends to get in contact with me on his behalf. Since then, I've slowly drifted away from our mutual friends, as no one has cut contact with him. I just wanted friends who didn't feel like they were walking on eggshells around me. It started off being very apologetic in his messages to me through them, but quickly became mean and blamed me for everything. He lost the flat because he could no longer afford it and moved to a studio. While he was heartbroken, his sister would look after him and clean sometimes, but even she got tired of it. He told everyone he was depressed because of me, so they all tiptoed around him. But once I started to drift off and hang out more with my hometown friends and reconnect, I heard less and less. About a month ago, I got asked on a date and said yes. The man, 33, let's say Martin, is completely new to this area and knew barely anyone, so we spend a lot of time together in the first week, just me showing him around and being more like friends before seriously dating. Somehow, my ex found out. I'm still not sure how, but I think a mutual friend saw me and reported back. He turned up at my father's house. He doesn't know where I currently live, asking to talk to me. I called a mutual friend to alert them of his weird behavior. It seemed to work because he didn't try anything for a while. But then one called me to tell me that they found my ex has lost his job because for the past few weeks he'd been driving around my town all day instead of working in the hopes to spot me. This has scared me. I didn't think he was capable of that, but if you read my last post, you'd know I don't seem to be able to predict these things well. Martin is a tall, large man, so I go out with him almost everywhere, since we like spending time together anyways. And I also have my friends and my father, so I don't feel like I'm in imminent danger. But this behavior sounds like the kind of behavior from an entitled, delusional man. And we all know how far their delusions of entitlement can take them. For him to lose a job he wanted me to prioritize over mine, and the entire start of our argument last time doesn't sit right with me. At this point, the police here can't do anything as he hasn't acted, and I can't prove that he has stalked me electronically. So the only way for me to find out more or resolve this is by unblocking him. I'm grateful I blocked him so thoroughly because it allowed me to have a clean break, but obviously his red pill mind, that's not normal. Will closure help him? Martin has suggested that I'd even pretend to be a fully dedicated boyfriend to help discourage my ex from any ideas of reconciliation. Honestly, since our breakup, I've been considering moving to Portugal, but very whimsically. Now the situation has made me think about it seriously. I write because last time your comments gave me comfort and lots of insight and confidence. That is incredibly scary and so incredible. I find it sad for me at the same time because of the way it spiraled. OP did the right thing leaving at the start, absolutely no question about that. And then this guy's life completely imploded, lost his relationship, the flat, his job. And instead of taking accountability himself for the way he's acted, he's just doubling down and almost like went completely off the rails, driving around town all day, hoping to run into her. That's not some sort of romance, that's scary, stalkerish behavior. And nothing can be done about it because technically, air quotes, technically, he's not doing anything illegal. When the reality of it is he should be told to back the fuck off. And it's the part that really sucks about this situation because OP did everything right. She was setting her boundaries, she walked away, but now she's the one who has to think about uprooting her life just to feel safe from this guy. It's just fucking not fair. But I really do hope that OP stays safe and this guy just backs off and leaves her alone. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit. And it says, my girlfriend is testing me. So I don't really know how to do this, so I just jump right into it. My male 24 girlfriend, female 24, over the last week or so has just started neglecting her hygiene. Example, stopped putting on deodorant, taking showers, etc. and started dressing in horrible outfits. Example, ripped pajama bottoms with a St. Patrick's Day bright green sweater whenever we go out or do anything. This really confused me for the first few days. I asked her if she was okay and tried to talk to her because neglecting her hygiene is a sign of depression. She acts the exact same except for what I mentioned before. Well, today I got a call from her sister's husband who called me to tell me what she was doing is testing me and trying to see if I would still stay with her even though she neglects her hygiene. Apparently her sister did the same thing to him when they started getting serious. He told me to just wait it out and she will stop after a couple of weeks, so I don't really know where to go from here. I haven't brought it up with her yet because I'm not sure what to do. Any advice? That is absolutely wild. Imagine thinking like, oh yeah, let me just simulate depression and poor hygiene as a loyalty test instead of, just bloody talking about it, right? It's not a test, it's just manipulation, and that's all there is to it. And is this something like the family does every time? Like it's some kind of like weird family tradition? It's so strange. The other boyfriend just turned around and said, oh yeah, don't worry about it, just wait it out while she's doing this for a couple of weeks. Like this is normal behavior. And she's creating this problem to see how much you'll tolerate, which, is a dangerous game because where does it stop? Today we're talking about hygiene, tomorrow it's something bigger. So ultimately I come to the end of it and I'm just like, well, I'm more concerned about her actual mindset that she's willing to do this to you in the first place. A top commenter said, treat her the way you would if you thought this was real. And the way you should is someone you know actually develops poor hygiene. You don't try to talk, you say, hey, we need to have a serious conversation tonight. Can you block out some time? You sit down with her with no distractions and say, I've noticed you've completely stopped your self-care and hygiene routine since X date. That's a serious symptom of depression. This came on very suddenly and I'm seriously worried about you. I would like you to try setting reminders on your phone and see a doctor, please. You also tell her, I'm going to try gently reminding you to shower and brush your teeth if we're getting intimate and it isn't pleasant. I hope you do the same for me if our situations are reversed at some point. See how far she takes this. Her sister's husband might be wrong, he might be chatting shit. Her sister might have done something like this and said it was on purpose. That doesn't make a suggestion necessarily true. If a response to it being treated kindly but seriously is weird, like not taking it seriously, making excuses, attacking you for bringing it up, then double down. That you can't see this as weird or a problem is making me even more concerned. That is really weird. What's going on? This is not an attack or an argument. Hygiene is important, and suddenly stopping doing basic normal adult hygiene is really concerning. I want to help you fix whatever the problem is. If she admits it was a test, stay calm and just follow up as seriously. Why would you do that? Why would you want to worry me and make me uncomfortable? Have you done this sort of thing before? Are you going to do it again? My problem isn't the hygiene itself, it's that you try to worry and confuse me by lying. In future, if you develop serious worrying symptoms, how am I supposed to be sure you're not messing me around? You can decide whether to dump her based on her response, if you're not totally set on doing so just from the situation so far. Fundamentally, it's absolutely okay to dump someone because they decided to stop washing. So if this is a test, it's a really stupid one. And another commenter says the real test for this relationship will be you confronting her, asking what she really hoped to prove with this and why it shouldn't be seen as manipulation and how she reacts to that. If she gets defensive, petty, has a breakdown, well, it doesn't bode well for the dynamic. You don't want a relationship where someone will put their own health and social dynamics at risk just to try and trap you. That is genuinely distorted thinking on their part. And it was a couple of days later that Opie did come in with her update and said, first, I want to thank everyone who commented and offered their advice. Now, onto the update. So last night I sat down with my girlfriend and brought up that I know she had been testing me and that I didn't appreciate nor found it cute or funny. She said it was to test whether or not I love her or for her appearance. I told her that this was a shit way to test that and she is hurting herself more than anything. Apparently this is proof that I didn't love her for her, and that if I really loved her, I wouldn't have brought it up and let her be as long as she wasn't hurting anyone. I told her that was batshit crazy and she broke up with me. Although I probably would have broken up with her anyway if this behavior continued. Thank you again for all your advice. Well, that was kind of like a predictable ending, although I thought he was going to be the one splitting up with her, but the trash took itself out in the end. But what I find really strange about this whole thing is that she's going to get with someone else, and she clearly doesn't see a problem with this testing, so the next person she gets with, this test is probably going to come up again until someone accepts it like her sister's boyfriend has. I just find that so wild. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time, your likes, your hypes, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for being a part of it all. You are really, truly appreciated, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.